Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations. Thank you very much for joining me for this rather impromptu live stream. Say hello to the chicken. Hello, chicken. Okay, so the chicken just popped in here before I started live streaming, so I better... There we go. Chicken has no name. That is the other black one. So we've got the big black one, the little black one, and then the other black one, and the white one, and the blind one. I can name it Steve for sure. I'll call that Steve. How is everything? Picture, audio, all okay? I threw this together at the last second. I got a couple of new things here I wanted to test out. One thing that I got was I've got a new HDMI capture for the camera over there. And it may or may not mean that the image is a little better. It's a little bright at the moment, probably needs a little bit of adjustment. But this is my old camera, not my new camera, so the new camera would probably give a better result. But anyhow, there's that. What else? And of course I got, let's go back here. I also, shush. I got this thing, this hot plate, which I'm going to have a little bit of a muck around today. Now, I will just tell the story of the background story related to this. If you are wanting to transfer components from one board to another, you could use a hot air station, that's fine. You know, you heat up the component, you lift it off, and there you go. It's all fine and dandy. But there are some other things that are a lot harder to remove. Take, for example, if I needed to remove this 50-pin header here. This is a through-hole solder with 50 little pins that are soldered through-hole. Removing something like this can be quite difficult. The reason being that you've got a couple of options. Number one is you get rid of all the solder from all of the pins. And you can do that with solder wick, or you can do it with a solder sucker or whatever. But it really only takes a tiny weeny little bit of solder on each pin to still stop it from being able to be moved. And so for something like this, it actually works out better if you can get all of the solder melted at the one time. Now the problem with that is that if you do that with a hot air station, you melt the plastic as well. So I have got a hot plate, and you can get it up. It actually goes all the way up to 400 degrees Celsius, which is way hotter than we need. But I would probably take it up to about 200, something like that. And then you can basically sit this there until all the solder melts, and then you can just sort of pluck the component off. Now, so that's the purpose of this this hot plate. What's better, rosin or flux for soldering? Interesting you say that. I was talking to my friends at Stiri Flux. Let's just change to a top view here, as we can see a Stiri. Here's Stiri and some tissues. These were not snot tissues, these were cleaning tissues, so that's all right. We've got a little bit of Stiri there. Pretty much all of these fluxes do have a rosin component in them. So, but when it comes to using flux, I will always lean on the side of a tacky flux like this, as opposed to a more conventional, armpit view here, as opposed to a more conventional flux, say like this, a rosin soldering flux. Yeah, they do fuse shut. I had a feeling this one was going to be hard to open. So anyhow, I definitely prefer to use the tacky flux. You'll find links in the description, and you'll even find a discount code to the Stiri store if you want to buy some of those. And of course, if you want to know which flux I prefer, I recently just did a video on that. So, and it's called "What the Flux." Well, that's what it says on the thumbnail anyway. So this is like a rosin type flux. It works. It all works. But I definitely prefer these sorts of tacky fluxes in the what do you call those things? Syringe. Let me get a tissue. I've got flux on my fingers. Yeah. Don't you hate it when the tissue goes into the box and the next one doesn't come out? Okay, lick it. So I need to say hello to everyone. I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to say hello to Steve from Mac84, hello to Jay from the House of Moth, Jack68K, Joe Williams, Thomas Armstrong, Dana Does Stuff, N62 BMW, K-Mac Vintage, DJ Craze, I think that's everyone. LRK, hello. I think that's a lot. I think that's everyone. Because of the time that I'm streaming, I know I appreciate it's probably quite late in some parts of the US. I don't expect to get as many viewers as I will often get. But that's okay because, as I say, today is just a bit of a testing. I probably won't stream for more than like an hour or something like that. So, and if you really want, if you're serious about your flux, it's a bit silly, isn't it? Anyhow. So anyhow, look, the wonderful people at Stiri have been really good. It wasn't a situation where Stiri reached out to me and said, "Hey, you know, sell our product for us or give our product a recommendation." It was the other way around. I contacted them, and I have to tell you, I just love their flux. It's fantastic. Hello, it's Vince with Slap Chop. Hello there, it's Vince with Slap Chop. Okay, so I was telling a story that about using the hot plate for removing components from PCBs. Now, I have a project coming up. I have a couple of projects coming up, and getting components off them is going to be a very, very important part of that project. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a couple of things here. This first one here, this is mine. It was given to me as a gift from Kai Robinson, who is very, very kind and generous human being. And he sent this to me all the way from the United Kingdom. And this is a Macintosh 2CI reloaded board in a lovely purple colour. People seem to love getting things in purple these days. And so this is essentially a whole new 2CI PCB with no components on it, of course. Nothing at all. So I think Kai originally bought this for himself, but he then managed to get hold of one that already had all of the bird seed placed on it. That's all these little components on the back. So he then had this surplus, and so then he gave this to me, which is very, very kind of him. What I also have, and this will be coming up in a future live stream, I have wealth. This, my friends, is a 2FX reloaded logic board. Now, this is not mine. This one does actually belong to Kai, but I am going to be building this in a series of live streams coming up in the future. So I will be taking two 2FX boards that he supplied me with. One is largely intact, but battery bombed. The other one is battery bombed as well, but it's also had a few things taken off it. I also have a spider attack. Where's the spider attack? Sorry, Jay just sent me a message. I have actually got a battery bomb 2FX board myself, and I am planning to buy one of these boards for me so that I can build it, because a 2FX is one of the computers that I don't have in my collection. I mean, I have a box, I have a case, I have a power supply, and I have a badly battery damaged logic board. But I would love to have a functional 2FX. So that's what I'm planning to do. Do you watch Joey Does Tech channel? No, I don't. You know, the truth of the matter is I don't watch much YouTube at all. I have a few people that I watch quite regularly, but I am not a big YouTube watcher that much, which I know seems a bit odd, but you know, I watch things when I'm researching stuff. You know, like for instance, I just recently did some stuff to my Creality K1 3D printer. I rooted it, as they refer to it, and so hoping that it will be it's got some added functionality now. But anyhow, that's another story. Okay, so 2FX board, going to be building one of these, and what is really important with these are the stuff that I need to take off the other board. Things like new bus ports, RAM slots, you know, I mean, lots of stuff here. I've got to get a CPU socket out of here. That's all through hole. That crap there, it's all through hole. So, and there, through hole, that's for the FPU, I think. So anyhow, that's coming up in a future live stream. But the reason, this is the reason for me buying this hot plate. Now, I did once buy a hot plate before. Some people who've been watching the channel long enough will know that. I bought it from Amazon US. There's a reason why I bought it from the US Amazon. And it actually said it was a 110 volt unit. And we use 230 or 240 out here. Somewhere between the two, 230 and 240. And when I looked at the photos of this particular thing, I noticed that the sticker for the plug, power plug, actually said 230 on it in the photo of the description of the item. So I thought, I'm going to take a chance with this and I'm going to buy it from Amazon US. So anyhow, it arrived out here and sure enough, the thing is locked in to 110 volts. It is not a unit that can be plugged into 230 volts. So I decided to make a little modification myself. I replaced a transformer inside it. The transformer that was originally outputting 110 volts or whatever, I changed it to a transformer to output 230 volts. And it worked, but it uses like about 5,000 watts of power when it's running. And that's not good because that has a tendency to like trip my circuit breaker. And so it means that I can't use it on live stream because if I do, I'm likely to actually just end up going offline when the power goes out in the house. So I then ended up buying one that is a proper 230 volt version. This is one made for Australia. And I'm just going to grab it now. A smart man would have had this ready, but I am not a smart man. Okay, so here it is. Here is the little unit. It does say on the back, input 220 to 250 volts AC, 50-60 hertz. It's got a little control panel at the front here. Not a big fan of the way the controls work, but that's okay. I mean, you don't really need to worry too much about that. So I'm going to plug this into the power now, and assuming, of course, it doesn't just immediately make the lights go out, we should be good to go. So I'm going to put this here. I shall change my view to side view. I think that will work better. I might zoom out a little bit as well. So just excuse me while I out-zoom. You can see all the mess. There we go. There we go. Nice. Well, it's nice. It's very nice. It's nice. It's good. It's nice. Alright, so let's just spin that around so we can have a little look-see at it. Okay. So, switch him on. There he goes. He is set to 250 volts. That's the 250 degrees Celsius. I did that before. The way the controls work, you have this set button. When I press the set button, you can get it to then have one of these digits flashing. And then you can move from digit to digit with a sideways button, and then you can change that digit to up or down using these up or down arrows. So if I wanted to make this 240, I press the set, I move across to the 5 till that's flashing, and then I can just lower it down to 240. Press set again, and we're locked in. Now, that's the current temperature, 36 degrees, 37. So as you can see, it's a pretty slow climb. Now, I can feel it's starting to get a bit warm now. It's a bit warm to touch. But that is definitely heating up there. ASM 2750, hello there. Dave's here, hello there, Dave. Okay, all right. So, now I'm not going to just sit here and stare at this and wait for the numbers to go up. I'm actually going to use it today, just test it out. As I mentioned, I am going to be doing work on a 2CI. And I figured I would get my 2CI, which is absolutely bargaheard. And, is this it? Oh, that's not a 2CI. That's a Quadra 700. I wonder when they're going to do that one. When do you reckon they're going to do a Quadra 700 reloaded board? There, look at that. Isn't the Quadra 700 nice? No CPU on it, of course, but that's okay. I'll take it. These have all got battery bomb hoo-ha on it. Very badly corrosioned. Okay. I need space. I apologise for the way I sound at the moment. I have a cold. It's been hanging around for ages. I'm going to try not to be too gross on live stream, you know, sniffling and snuffling and stuff like that. Okay, what's this one? This one. This looks like... I'm confused. What is that? What is that? So this is... I'm getting very confused here now. I'll get it back together. Don't worry. I'm just my brain. I don't know if you can hear the gears whirring, but they are whirring. What's the same size? It's not a 2X. Crap. Where's the CPU? There it is. 33 megahertz 68030. Yes, I could use a Quadra 700 reloaded, yes. Wish my ultrasonic cleaner heated that fast. Yeah. Someone bought an ultrasonic cleaner recently. I can't even remember who it was. They were asking for a recommendation. And I looked at the specs and it had a way more powerful heater than mine did. So, Centra 650, do you think? Centra 650 is an 040. So no, this is a 68030. These are both 68030. Can't be a 2... Oh, hang on. 2VX, 2VI. It's going to be one of those stupid things. Yes, thank you, Steve. God, my brain had to just lock in there for a minute. So, just looking for where the battery goes on this. This thing's starting to smell, by the way. Shush. There's the ROMs there. That's not where 2CI ROMs go. Okay, so neither of these have a display. Oh no, yes they do. Oh no, this one does. This has a display. This one doesn't. So this is a 16 megahertz 68030. It's a 2CX. It actually says it on it. Okay, so that's why do I have a 2CX? I should have known that straight away. The 2CX has this this little configuration of capacitors there. Unlike any other board, when you see that little row of capacitors, whether it be TANTs or whether it be electrolytic, you can always tell it's a 2CX from that. So I've got a 2CX here. This one is not looking too bad, but I do see some trace damage. So this is probably a part way through repair. This is a 2VX, which is just like it's a train wreck. I think is it 2VX or 2VI? That's the 33. So this is definitely a 2VX. The 2VI is the slower one. Okay, so we're moving along. We'll find this computer. Don't you worry. Could actually be up in this pile here. This one's battery bombed. You know, I really should have done this sort of prep earlier, but as I said, this was a very impromptu sort of thing. What's that? Ah, found it. I found it, my good friends. I've found it. So this here is my 2CI board. This is mine. I bought it and did this. I bought it, I think I paid $50 for it, and it was in a really pristine case. So the case is beautiful. The floppy drive was, of course, just, you know, toast. It's rusted to the crap because the battery corrosion had sort of, you know, the gases, I guess, had sort of risen up and had caused massive corrosion on the floppy drive. Hard drive, I've probably tested the hard drive. I can't remember. I've removed a component, 2 components from this, 3, 4. So I've already taken stuff off this, so that sucks. So I'm going to have to get all of these things back again. Thankfully, these share a lot of chips with the 2V to SI. So hopefully I'll be able to get some of these back. I'm annoyed at myself for taking those components off, but anyhow, I'll figure it out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plonk this on here, as I have just done. I'm going to let this warm up and see if I can get these RAM slots off, and maybe even these ROM chips out. So I'm missing UG11 688. Why would I have taken the CPU off? I've taken off UE9, UA7, UF4, UG4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different chips have been removed from this. And I am feeling a little bit of a wally now that I've got this reloaded board, but I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out. Yeah, the chicken's just wandering around wanting me to feed it. I think their little food thingy has emptied out, so it wants me to go give it some more, and I will, but I just not yet because I'm live streaming. So what I want to do is I want to see if I can get these RAM slots off. I want to see if I can get the PDS slot off, the new bus slots off. I can probably replace those easy. I'm not sure about that. Probably can get, that's the floppy connector. Pretty sure you can get those still fairly easily. These ones are actually getting harder. I mean, I shouldn't say they're getting harder to find. They're getting harder for me to buy easily. I used to be able to just buy these from my local electronics retailer, but they've discontinued it. Be careful those birdseed items don't come off. Yes, I do need to be careful of that. I have done this before with other boards, and I have been able to successfully remove... This is bent. Is this board bent? I have actually been able to successfully remove components from the board without losing any of the birdseed underneath. Word of caution, when hot plating something, do not become laser focused on the thing you're trying to remove. There may be melty bits on the other side of the board as well. Plan ahead. Yeah. This really does seem like it's bent. Anyhow, I'm going to just rest this here like that. No, that's too high. I really need something to sort of hold it there. Hold it there. Yeah, never mind. We'll just let it sit there and warm up. Birdseed, yes, that is correct. So that's a term, I first heard it, I think probably from Kai. I'd never even heard it referred to that as before, referred to as that before. And that is when you've got all of the little tiny little sort of, they're usually resistors and their ceramic capacitors and their inductors and diodes and stuff, and they're all usually on the bottom of the board. And you know, someone coined the term birdseed, and I think it's quite an apt term. So now, of course, I'm dealing with hot here, so I'm going to have to be quite careful. What I did with these when I was doing this once before, I grabbed some solder, just a little piece of solder like this, and I chopped off a little bit, and then I rolled it up into a little coiled sort of thing, just a little blob, and I dropped it on the board like that. And when I see that melt into a ball, I can change it to the top view here. When I see that melt into a ball, this little guy here, there. When I see it melt into a ball, I know that that solder is all melting on the board, and I can probably start lifting things off. I'm hoping that even though this isn't making immediate contact, there'll be enough heat radiating upwards that will allow me to melt this. But it hasn't melted yet. Should I turn it up a little bit more? It's on 240 degrees at the moment, 240C. That should be enough. So a silicon pad that heats up on AliExpress. I've seen those. They are generally designed more around softening adhesives for phones and things like that when you want to open them up. So if you've got an iPad or an iPhone and you're wanting to open it up, and that adhesive you know, gets a bit sort of tacky when you heat it up, you can use those silicon pads to get nice measured temperature, nice measured heat. I believe Jay from the House of Moth did a review of one of those silicon mats in the past. So if you're wanting to check that out, but yeah, I'm not sure that they can generate the sort of heat that you would need to start melting solder. It smells. It definitely smells. I can't remember what I set the temperature on of the old one. You know, as I say, I've got this one set on 240, but I'm just wondering if I should maybe go a little bit higher because of the potential heat loss and everything. So what I might do is I might just take it up to, say, I don't know, 290. Set. See what happens. I mean, there's burny smells coming off this, so we know it's getting hot. But this little thing of solder here is still unmelted, so it's not hot enough yet to melt solder. Those pads will not melt solder unless it's cheap Chinese crap that runs way too hot. Yeah, if it's melting solder, there's something wrong with it. I am so sick of this cold. I have had a cold for such a long time. I'm working on a video at the moment, and I've been doing all the B-roll and stuff like that. But I can't do any of the voiceovers. I can't do any of the talking to camera, any of the A-roll stuff, because I sound like awful. I don't want people to have to listen to it. In the YouTube world, there's a term given for videos, and one of those terms is evergreen. And what that means is it's a video that keeps on getting watched. Now, some people that might bring out a video, like for instance, looking at someone like Sean from Action Retro. Hello, Sean, if you're watching. He does a lot of these videos that are almost like a series of stuff. You know, I mean, he'll get a particular computer, he might muck around with it, he'll do some upgrades and stuff like that. And in that, he's sort of you're going on an adventure, and his subscribers will go in and they'll watch them when they come out. And then after that, so you have an initial jump up there of people watching, and then it'll tend to taper down because it's like watching the show from a TV series. You watch it when it comes out, and then eventually it doesn't have that repeatability type thing. But then there are other videos, and they might be to-do videos or how-to videos. You know, how to repair something, or how to how to install some software or something like that. And those ones are more along the lines of you don't necessarily get huge amounts of views out of the gates, but they keep getting watched over time. Because every time someone does a search to find, how do I do this? They do a search, YouTube, the video comes up and they watch it. And so that's more of the evergreen type video. And I tend to do more of the evergreen style videos than I do of the one-offs, unless you're talking about live streams, of course. And for that reason, I don't particularly like it if I've recorded something which is going to last for years and I've got a croaky throat or something like that. I just don't like it. Which one, the VLI? This one here? Looks like gas station bathroom. Is it this one or this one? Yeah, this one's awful. I've done something. Well, this is where all the damage was, okay? So the battery holder was here. Right where you can't see. Can I? There we go. So the battery holder was right here. And so that's where all the leakages happen. As you can actually see it here on the ROMs. I'm just going to see if I can tilt this down a little bit. Come on, you thing. There we go. There we go. So you've got... I'll just check the focus now. I think I've unfocused it. There we go. So the battery damage is all around here. And because here are our ROM chips, and that's where all of the badness has gone. And I've repaired a lot of these traces. But there's still a lot more to do, and I think I kind of just gave up. I was just like, no, that's too much hard work, stuff it. And then I just turned it into a donor. Donor. Hello, Tevruden. Don't blame the battery. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can actually see how rusty these pins are. And that's just from all that corrosion. There is quite a bit of flux still on here from when I was doing this repair work, because obviously I doused this all in flux while I was doing it. This is starting to stink. The solder still hasn't melted. Solder. Will you be testing any old printers today? No. No, I will not. I will, you know, I will resist the call of the, oh well, there's a massive delay on my microscope camera. I will resist the call of the old printers. I did actually have a Style Rider. It was really funny actually, because I had a Style Rider 1200, right? And they came out in about 1995, so I guess we're getting close to 30 years old. And I got it included with an LC 580 that I bought as a bundle deal ages ago. I probably paid too much, but it was at the time when I was trying to grow my collection, and I saw it come up on Gumtree, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I want to grab it. So this is feeling pretty damn hot, I tell you. Feel heat coming off it. And so I went and got this Style Rider 1200, got it home, and I thought, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to print things out so that they look vintage, and it's going to be all fun, And I plugged it in, did a head clean on the thing, and the results were excellent. I mean, 1200 DPI inkjet, I think. The results looked fantastic. There was nothing vintage about it. It looked great. And I'm like, well, there's no fun in that. If I print something on this, it just looks like I've done it on a modern laser printer. There was absolutely no vintageness about it whatsoever. Not like printing on a dot matrix or something like that. So, yeah. I'm just going to do... Oy, don't be a thing, you. Everything you are doing is bad. I just want you to know this. Okay. I really need something that I can adjust the height of over here to lift this up. What have I got? Well, have I got something that might be the right height? Oops. Press the mouse. This might be the right height. No, it's too high. Too high. What can we choose? What can we choose? My watch? Yeah, I'll use my watch case. This might work. Nope. It really just needs to be... Actually, maybe this side. Oh yeah, that's... Oh yeah, I like it. 287 degrees. Yeah, so anyhow, Steve did a live stream yesterday, and he dug up a... what was it? Was it an Epson? Was it a Canon? I can't remember, but an inkjet printer. One with lovely colours, very pretty colours on the cover. And fired it up and started printing pictures of Sean. Because why not? Just going to get a pair of TWEEZERS here. That's not tweezers, that's a scalpel. Nothing wrong with me. This is what happens when you have sickness brain. Yeah, the solder's not melting on this side at all at this stage. So the heat definitely has not gone all the way through. I can't really use a thermal... I could use a thermal camera, but it's not here. It's up in the house. Good ninja. Should have got it. 740. I remember the 740. I'm sure I used to have a 740, but it didn't have colour on it. It was just plain. 740 just rings a bell. If your photo showed up easily on Frog Find on my 300 megabyte iBook, I would have printed you. I don't know. I don't even know if I have my picture anywhere up on the interwebs, other than sort of on Facebook and that. I don't. All of my images for my channel are all like logos or motherboards or something like that. I don't have any pictures of me anywhere. I probably should, at least on my Recap a Mac website, put a picture of moi in all my glory, because let's face it, everyone wants that, don't they? What's the view under the face cam that's out of focus? That is the microscope camera, and what you are actually looking at is... I'll show you what you're looking at. It's this. It is a 2SI board that has had all of the stuff rubbed off. Unfortunately, I'm just not getting the results I wanted when I'm trying to scan this in. I just can't get a decent separation between the traces and the green stuff. But anyhow, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Right. Solder still hasn't melted. Shall we put it up even more? We're all just discovering things here, aren't we? So let's try. Take it up to 350. Can't go too much more. It only goes up to 400. Does Kai have a site where you can buy those reloaded boards? Now, that's an interesting thing. No. So the board, I should actually really clarify a few things here. First of all, because I've given no credit to the people who are responsible for these. So the 2FX board, this one here, this one was engineered by, you might even recognize the face on the little logo. You see that? So, yeah, okay, this is not for commercial use. So, there's a little URL here. GitHub. The Real Bowl 2FX. So this is one of Bowl's creation. Bowl is responsible for the SE30 Reloaded as well. One of the wonderful things that Bowl does is he doesn't just take an original board, sand it down. He kind of re-engineers them. So I think, I could be wrong, but I think he may have even built this board now so that it's a 4-layer board rather than a 6-layer board. I could be wrong. He certainly did that with the SE30. But, and he does things, he makes little changes, like for instance, he's set up the little battery holders so that you can either use a holder for a CR2032 or a holder for a half AA. So he actually modifies these things. So he shifts things around a little bit and kind of improves things. So this is by Bowl, and I believe he is selling these. I'll need to get in touch with him about getting one for myself. Now this one, on the other hand, this is the 2CI Reloaded board. You'll find information about this, I think, on Tinker Different. This one is done by Max Ones, which of course, who spends a bit of time in the live streams from time to time. He is known to us. You know, he's a very good person. Good old Max. So yeah. Anyhow, that's you know, that's fantastic. It's great that these people are doing it. It's not just like all one person. So we have Kai to thank for doing the classic Reloaded and for doing the SE Reloaded, and I think he was even working on a RAM expansion module Reloaded for the classic. He's also done, Kai has also redone the RAM sims for the 2FX, which I have some here and I will have to build them. I've got a whole bunch of chips and the RAM boards, so I've got to make those up. And then you've got someone like Max who has done the 2CI Reloaded board. And I've got it in my head that he's working on something else as well. Someone is re-engineering the text step, but I can't remember who it was doing that. I apologise to whoever it is because it was on the it's on Tinker Different. But anyhow, so the text step, the Apple text step, is being re-engineered. And you know what's great about the re-engineered text step? They've built the replacement, they built the new one, so that it has all of the ROMs built in. So rather than having to actually have the little ROMs you stick in the side, it comes preloaded with every ROM the text step ever supported. That was Max as well, was it? Yeah, so absolutely awesome stuff. And then, of course, Bowl is responsible for the SE30 Reloaded board and the 2FX Reloaded board, and of course he's done heaps of other stuff as well. I haven't done a video on it yet. Sean has done a video on it, and I probably will still do a video on it eventually. I have got the grayscale for the SE30. So that is It comes as a display card that you put in the PDS slot, and it also has a new, what do they call it? Is it the neck board? It's got a new neck board that you put onto the CRT, and it actually turns an SE30 into the CRT so that it can display 256 shades of grey. Obviously, you're not going to get colour because it's a black and white CRT. But for all those years of having, oh, the solder's melted. I don't know if anyone saw that, but the solder has melted. Look at, it's now a ball of solder. So let's see if we can get one of these RAM slots out. Slots, sorry. It's very wobbly. Come on. Hey! There's one. Two. I'll take the crystal off while I'm here. Because the crystals are surprisingly difficult to remove. For what they are. Yeah. It's getting easier. Okay, this one isn't as melted. I'm guessing because it's probably further off to the edge of the board. What about this wrong? Nope, that's stuck. Okay, so I'm content with that. I'm going to move this across now, see if I can get that last RAM slot off, and then I'm going to probably try and get the PDS slot off. But I have to be very careful because I do not want to lose all the bird seed from the bottom. So far, just one. One has come off. And there's a little bit of melted plastic here as well, but that's to be expected. Get that off. That's a little inductor by the looks of things. Alright, so got some discoloration here from the heat as well. That's probably not surprising, but I really don't care what happens to this board. None care. Ow! Okay, now let's go. Let's just get my little thing under here again. And then we'll get this last RAM slot off. I'll look at trying if I can get these three, you can't see, plastic things off. But these appear to be pretty good. We've had some little melty here. Well, that's to be expected. That's not going to impact on them. They're just those little things, they're just designed for positioning. So you know where they go. It has pulled out some vias here that these sit in. I'm guessing that the plastic was probably sticking to the side of the vias, and so it's yanked them out. But that doesn't matter. I mean, they're not even used for this. They're just used as a positioner to hold the RAM slot in the right place. Right. Let's see if we can get this other one off. Hey. No, he's still well and truly soldered on up this end. There is no look. Anyone who's ever had to take a RAM slot off. Now, I appreciate all of the damage. Sorry, the potential damage associated with moving components on the other side, but the top of the hot plate has actually got these tiny weeny little ridges in it, and it's actually designed to stop whatever you're putting on it from slipping about. It actually holds things really steady when you put them on there. They really don't move around much at all. And so for that reason, you know, even if you bump it, you tend not to move it. and then you reduce that risk of sliding a component out of position or something like that. I mean, I reckon I can even find the location where that fell off from and stick it back on again. My apologies to anyone who's like, this is the most boring thing in the world. Hello, toilets here. Is there grease on the lens? It looks foggy towards the top of the image. It's not grease on the lens. It is actually this camera. It is unfortunate. This is the way this camera is. This camera does have a kind of like a focal spot. It's when it's in focus in one spot, it's out of focus in another spot. This is this camera here. It's a relatively new one, and I like it because it has a zoom lens, so I can do this. But the flip side, I'm too close to focus, so sorry about that. Yeah. But the flip side is that it does have this issue with this lens. It's a very cheap lens attached to it. That it does have, it's in focus, like you can see here, there. It's kind of going out of focus here, but it's nice and sharp over here. A little bit of the frustrating. But anyhow, beggars can't be choosers. When you're looking for a webcam type thing, one that you can just plug into a computer, but you want one that has zoom capability, there aren't a whole lot of options out there, certainly not for cheap or inexpensive. Some of them are like in the thousands of dollars, and forget that. The crazy old gamer, hello there, welcome. So anyhow, here we are. We're still waiting for this last little RAM slot to warm up so that I can remove it. Oh, yeah, it's very slippery now. The part that's giving me grief is the plastic. It's the plastic part. The part going through these holes here. But anyhow, we've now got that one off. So now I'm going to see if I can very, very carefully and gently move this without burning the crap out of myself. Oh, we lost another one. Let's just get that. That's another inductor. So the inductors are the ones that like to come off. And I will just plonk this down here. And we will hope that we can get that, get these ones off as well. So I've got 3 new bus ports, we've got a ROM slot, and we have a PDS slot. And if I can get those, and potentially these crystals as well, if I can get those all off, I will be as happy as a pig in mud. Try a ROM. Yeah. The problem with the ROMs is they've actually got some fairly heavy corrosion on the pins, and I'm a little bit scared about that. That could give me some trouble, but we'll see. Try a ROM. I can just put a thing in there. Yeah, it's all gone solid again now. Once again, I'll do my little trick here, where I will just grab a little bit of solder, and I'll roll it up into a little ball, and I'll place it on the board so that I can see. So really, to get this to work better, this needs to be over 300 degrees C. So this is on 350 now. And I'll just plop that there. And when I see that melt, I know that the board is hot enough to start working with. Start pulling things off. Off, as they say. Yeah, so the solder that's on these ROMs is not lovely, luscious fluid stuff. No. This is down in the... Oh, you can't see it because the camera's not showing. Let me see if I can move the camera. Over here. So again, this is where the battery bomb was. And what we have here is we have a real-time clock chip just there. We've got our crystal oscillator there, which is our 32.768 kilohertz. That's the one used for keeping time. So that's the frequency that's used for timekeeping. And then you've got a couple of diodes here, and these diodes are designed to make sure that well, 2 things. They're designed to make sure that if the battery goes in the wrong way, it doesn't cause carnage, but they're also designed so that this real-time clock chip is powered by the battery when the computer is off, and it's powered by the computer when the computer is on. So that's what these little diodes do over here. But these are the things that regularly get damaged on all boards because they are almost always placed near the battery. So whether you're talking about a Classic 2, an SE30, whatever it is, these components, these diodes, real-time clock, and the crystal oscillator are located near the battery. Always, they're just designed that way. So they are ones that often cop the crap. Now, the diodes and the oscillator, no real problem. These are all replaceable components. You can I keep a massive stock of these oscillators because you just need them all the time. With the and the diodes, again, I keep a pretty good supply of those. There are two different types of diodes that are used for these. They're ones that go one direction or they go the other direction. You just have to make sure you get the right one going with the right computer. The real-time clock chips, on the other hand, they're a little bit harder to come by. But they are shared by quite a lot of computers. So if you end up having one go, you can often raid one from a different computer, and that can often be, oh, something just popped. I wonder what it was. Oh, well, anyhow, the solder's melted, so I can probably get these slots off now. Yeah, let's try it. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so this is still soldered on this side. So I'll just see if I can get these PDS slots out. No. No. I need to move it further down this way. That's a bit of a poops. I definitely think there's more heat on some parts of this heater than others. Oh, I just slid it. How many components do you reckon I just removed doing that? Yeah, I mean, the good thing about what's on the other side is that virtually everything under there is easily replaceable. They're resistors, they're capacitors. The bad thing about it is that they're all in the right position. So when you come to actually transferring them from one to the other, you can just go, that one goes there, that one goes there, that one goes there. Whereas if I move them, then I've got to go look them up, find out which one it is and what goes where. And I'd rather not do that. I'd probably end up moving a few, but I'm not too fussed about that. It's a weird sound. I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's coming from that. I think... Seriously, something is actually making a repeating buzzing noise on this board with the heat. I mean, it could be the actual device itself. Well, that was what we would refer to as a partial success. I thought I might have been making a crystals thing, but I'm removing the crystals. So it was a partial success because I actually left some pins behind. This can sometimes happen with these because what happens is the plastic gets softened as well. And so then as you go to pull the thing up, you end up pulling the pin through the plastic rather than it coming up with the holder. Worked fine with the RAM, but that was the ROM slot there. The one good thing is these are reasonably replaceable. I should move the camera back to what I'm pointing at. So these slots here are reasonably replaceable. You know, so... Oh, this one's a mess. Okay, so that's absolutely rogered. On the bright side, I do actually have a PDS that's not rogered, so that's all right. That needed to come off a bit earlier because it's the plastic just melted to the point where the pins just fell straight through it. Yeah, the ROM 64 pin you can still get. They're fine. That I've already got a spare. I know I've got a spare of that one. Not sure about the new bus slots. I may or may not have some of those. That was almost perfect. I only left behind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh dear. Not working out that well, is it? I'm getting good at breaking things. It was, you know, what's happened is this thing has just led me into this false sense of security where I took those RAM slots off and they just came off so easily, and I'm like, hey man, I'm in complete control here. I know what I'm doing. And now I'm just pulling things out. Oh, you know what it is? This is the point where, you know, I just take a good hard look at myself and realize what an idiot I am. Oh wow, almost all the bird seed's still on there. I'm going to let this cool. I'm going to let this cool because I can't do anything more with it. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you the mistake that I've made. Some of you may have already cottoned on, but I know what's wrong. I know why I'm destroying these things as I remove them. Has anyone else cottoned on yet? Just got a few little components here. So we lost a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 4 components. Okay, cool. Now, the PDS is the same size. Oh, hang on a bit. PDS is the same size as SE31, is so still available for pricing. Well, it is the same as the SE30, but it's also the same as the 2SI. And I raided one off a 2SI board a while ago, so I've got one from a 2SI board. Okay, so let me tell you the problem of what I was just doing there, the reason why I was having so much failure with removing these sorts of things here. Now this one, of course, I let it sit there for way too long. The plastic melted and melted badly. So that's no one to blame except for myself for that one there. That's all good. And I started pulling these off, and I started having problems with them, you know, leaving pins behind. There's a few left here and there. And the reason why this is happening is because when they were put onto the board, some of the pins were bent to hold them in place, and then they were soldered. So what I need to do with that board, if I want to remove any of those things in the future, the first thing I have to do, using a soldering iron, is I need to go across the row of pins and find any that are bent, melt them, bend them back up straight. Melt them, bend them back up straight. And then I will be able to just lift them straight off. And I have come across this before, but I'm sick and I'm going to use that as an excuse for my stupidity. So you know, that's something that has to be done. But look, you know, I mean, I'm not overly concerned. I can even see on this crystal there's a couple of bent pins. That's why I had trouble getting those out. There's, you know, in each one of these, I don't know if you can see here, if I get some focus. So this is one of the crystals I removed, and if you turn it on the side, you can see 2 bent pins. 2 straight ones, 2 bent ones. So when these were put in, those pins were bent down to hold them in place before they got soldered. And so that is the problem we had. We don't have that problem with these, our RAM slots, and the reason for that is they have these plastic things here. When you push them in, they hold them in position. They kind of wedge in so they don't move. So no one bothered to bend any pins on the RAM, so that's why they came out so easily. So anyhow, we live and we learn. That's my mistake, and I'm going to grab my mouse here, and what are you going to do? I mean, that's just that's part of doing stupid things and then learning from them, and then hopefully managing to retain that information for long enough that you don't do it again some years down the track. But anyhow, look, I'm feeling pretty good about that in many ways. Things like the PDF slot, as I say, I already have one of these. Things like the new bus slot, I've got a lot of dead boards with new bus slots on them that I can raid for them from. So I'm not overly concerned about those either. And to be honest, to be totally honest with you, even if I don't put all of them on there, I'm not sure I'm going to necessarily need three slots for a 2CR. I'm going to just put one on for a display card, maybe one for a network card. Leave the third one off. Use the internal video. So anyhow, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. A lot easier to work with much smaller boards, but it still does the job. I want to just try. Whoops! I knew that had happened. I'm going to just try something else here. See if I can do this. And just turn this on again. On. I've got here a very, very mangy classic board. I want to see if I can get the SCSI port off it. So, much easier to work with this little board. So let's just change to the top view. And let's get some focus. Now, as you can see, excuse me, this board I think was given to me. I think it was donated to me. And they were like, oh, can you do something with this? And I looked at it and I said, no. All of these traces all along here, they're all shot. All the way around here, all down here, they're all shot. So I've just used this to rate it. So I've rated the ROMs off it. I've rated the CPU from it. I think that's a CPU there, I think. I've rated CPU, I've rated the sound chip, I've rated whatever that thing is. I've rated some RAM off it. So as you can see, there's not a lot left. But I just want to see if I can get this guy off. Could we get a look at the heat distribution through a thermal cam? Yes, I might have to go get the thermal cam though. I'm going to do it with the handheld one, not the little one from the phone. Because from the one from the phone does get a little bit upset if you point it at really hot stuff for too long. So I'm going to get the other one. So if you'll just excuse me while I do the back soon, I'll go grab it. Okay. I'll go get the thermal camera. Right back. There's smoke coming off this now. So, anyhow, this is just warming up. This is one that I did a review on, Vivor SC240M. I give a pretty favourable review of this. It was a pretty darn good thermal camera, I have to say. A couple of things I didn't like about it. I point those out in the review. But on the whole, I think it's pretty darn good. So, It's really hard for me to show you this. I wish I could just sort of connect it and show you guys. Now, trying to take a measurement off here is pretty pointless. The reason being that this is reflective. And so when I shine my thermal camera on it, you're more likely to get reflected heat from that than you are getting the radiated heat. So you kind of have to measure it through something. So in this instance, I've got the board here. I can actually measure the heat through the board. I'll stand up for this. And let's see if I can. There we go. So we're getting 156. Oh man, that stinks. 156 up to the edge, 140. Let's go up to this edge here. 140, yeah, so it's definitely warmer in the middle. 144. 144, so we're sitting at around about 140 at the moment. So I don't think we're quite at solder melty yet, because that's closer up to, what is it, 180 or something like that? I can't remember, 150? Okay, so let's we'll do the same trick as I did before, and we'll get some solder. Oopsie, dropped the solder. I did a video recently where I was testing lots of different fluxes, and it was this board that I used to do a bunch of little trace repairs. So I cut a whole bunch of traces here with a Dremel, and then I did a whole bunch of repairs. It was good fun, very therapeutic. Okay. If anyone is wondering what that noise is, that is an Australian raven. They're very active around here at the moment. Don't know why. They're everywhere. Sorry, my little wire is coming undone here. Just a sec. When the soldering iron has no power. Yes, that's another thing. It's a very good point there, LRK. There are times when you might be going to solder something, and in particular if you're working with modern boards as opposed to old boards, some modern boards are very good at dissipating heat. They've virtually turned the PCB into like a heatsink. So it helps draw away the heat from the components. And they have large planes of copper in there, which helps again just dissipate heat. And so sometimes when you're working on something, you go with a hot air station or you go with a soldering iron, and you're just not getting the level of heat you need. So you can actually use these as an extra source of heat. You put them underneath, and then you work from the top. Very nifty, very handy. Oh yes, sorry. I think when I do my 2CI reloaded, I should put sockets in for the ROM. What do you think? Fume extractor, please. Yeah, sorry. Sorry. The smoke that we're getting off this at the moment, it's just wafting off here. That smoke is coming from this flux that I have on the board. I have some old flux there. And it is just smoking as it gets past its sort of smoky temp. How is everyone? Good? This really isn't the greatest live stream I've ever done, and I appreciate that. But again, it's just sort of for a bit of, just a bit of funness. I wanted to try out this for its purpose it was designed for. I wanted to try out my new HDMI capture for this camera. This one here. And I definitely think it's better than the old one. I definitely feel like the picture is much better than the old one. I haven't got any sort of filter on that or anything at all. I think the old one just seemed worse. So, what do you mean you're sleepy? Why are you sleepy, Dana? It's still early. Blew up the TV speakers. Why? How come? How'd you blow them up? I got a new Wi-Fi hub thing. What do you call them? Wi-Fi transmitter. What do you call those things? Anyhow, I got an Airport Extreme, the latest revision, which is the tall one. I noticed, so basically, Jay has been doing some work in his garage, and he had an Airport Extreme out there, and then he swapped it over to one of the latest ones and was getting faster speed. And I said, do those new ones, are they faster? He said, yeah. So I'm like, crap. So I've been using an Airport Extreme for the network in my living room, an old Airport Extreme, and I thought I'll just get I'll get a sort of one of those old second-hand Apple Airport Extreme, the latest revision. So I did that, picked it up on eBay, got one for parts or not working for $40, works perfectly, and then I ended up getting another one because of an accident. It was sort of a bit of a mix-up with the bidding. I bid for one, got outbid, and I'm like, no, I'm not paying any more for that one. So I then bid on a second one, and then the person retracted their bid from the first one. So now I was bidding on two, and I won them both. I got them for both, got them both for a song, so no real issue. I've got one down here for my work job, and I got one up there for the living room, and it is so much faster than what I had before. So I'm feeling pretty darn good about that. Watch that heat not melt the tube and nozzle. No, it seems to be okay. It still hasn't got to the point of melting solder here. It's not actually touching at the moment. It might look like it is, but it's not. It's hovering above. Okay, we are getting a little bit of melty there, because I just moved one of my traces, my trace repairs. Yeah, we're definitely getting some melty. It's going to suck trying to get that connector off. It really is. There's just no way of sugarcoating it. But I do want to wait until it's hot enough to melt the solder on the surface. This is giving me a dark image because it's adjusting the brightness from the metallic reflective bit. Oh no, he's come off. There we go. Slipping and a sliding. Hey, there we go. Hey, there we go. This computer will never work again. Okay, I'm not even going to attempt. We've got snapped off stuff from the connector here. That's gone. We've got a pin here that's mangled out of shape on the connector. It looks like I've removed the PDS slot from this one as well. Or LC PDS. But these sockets, can I get those off? We're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, I've lost my little bit of solder. Did he melt? I've lost him. I'm going to have to grab another one. Just a reminder to everyone that if you are someone who does a little bit of DIY and electronics and soldering, don't attempt to do it without a good quality flux. And if you're looking for a good quality flux, Styri, links in the description with a discount code. Visit the store, make a purchase, put in the discount code, and you'll get a discount on any purchase you make from Styri. And they do have fulfillment not just in the US, they've got fulfillment in other parts of the world as well. So, yeah. Come on, melt, Mr. Solder. Feel like we're getting close. Feel like we should be getting close anyway. Ah, boy. Did anyone watch Fallout? The TV series Fallout on Amazon? Anyone? Anyone? I watched it. I enjoyed it. Ow! I just stabbed myself with my tweezers. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. I totally recognise flaws in the show, but I really enjoyed it. I'm using some plastic here to draw things on it because it's melting. I'm actually wondering whether it's not getting as hot up that end. Maybe I need to move it down some. It's hot. What I should do, I should get something that helps me, something matte, even just a piece of paper maybe, put that on top, and then get the thermal camera out and see if which parts of it are getting hotter than others. Oh wow, this does quite a good job. This does quite a good job showing the heat, indeed. I know it doesn't. I'm just getting the reflected heat. 152. Can't wait to watch it. Mr. Tech Gadget, don't get your hopes up. It's been a pretty dull old live stream. I'm just basically testing out this device that I bought because it's going to be used in the reloaded boards that I'll be working on. So, in other words, taking components off dead logic boards and putting them onto brain spanking new ones, and I'll be doing that with a 2FX coming up soon. And I've got this to help me remove some of the hard to remove parts. Just wondering if I put some flux on this, whether it'll make it melt quicker. It certainly makes it smoke. I have no idea why I have two wires soldered onto either side of the fuse, the SCSI fuse on this board. I cannot think of a reason why I would do that at all. So, but it is something that I did, or someone did. Maybe it was already like that when I got the board, because I'm sure this board did come from someone else. Hello, Jeremy. Yes, a few things bugged Jay. We have had discussions about the Fallout thing, and Jay had a big issue with the main female lead. And I have to admit, while I do not want to be too superficial, I do have a tendency to agree with some of the things that may or may not have been mentioned. Oh, the solder's melted. It's a ball. I've missed it every time. I have not seen one of the balls melt live. I've only seen them afterwards. So, let's see if we can get... She looks like a bug. Yes, I know what you're talking about. She does have some boggle eyes on her, doesn't she? Ta-da! It's not even broken. So there we go. One 50-pin SCSI connector, which of course I think you can still buy today. So why would I even bother keeping it? That's a good question. Now these, on the other hand, like the ADB ports, they're probably a little bit more valuable. We've got our headphone ports, but that's probably got bent pins on it. The whole thing was... Oh, I'm breaking it. Breaking it. I haven't checked for bent pins on any of these either. So, But anyhow, that's what I wanted. I wanted to get that SCSI connector off, and I have. So we can call it a job well done. And I don't think I lost any of the birdseed from underneath either. So that's good. I did lose this though. And this. Now, another thing I can tell you about these things here is they take forever to cool down as well as heating up. So, you know, don't be sort of thinking you can just sort of grab it 5 minutes after you switch it off. Unless you give it some assistance with, I don't know, give it some water or something like that. Put a wet towel on the top or something like that to cool it down. Yeah, they stay hot for a really, really long time. So just be courteous. Oh, Jeremy's been moving. Ow, that's hot. Yeah, okay. So when I look at this, I can actually see all these areas where this plastic is here. That plastic is giving me a reading of the heat, but when I do it on the metal, it's showing me like 60 degrees. Well, we know it's a darn sight hotter than 60 degrees. If I put a piece of paper on it, how about that? Yeah, it's going up. It's climbing. Oh, and it's burning as well. So maybe paper's not the best option. Dear. Oopsie. You ever been one of those people where you just have to make sure it gets folded up the right way? Alright, so let's just jump across here. I am probably going to wrap things up now. My apologies to everyone that this hasn't been the most interesting live stream, but as I say, it was just an experiment to see how I would go with this. See if I could actually get a few things lifted off it, and I have. I managed to get a bunch of these little RAM slots, which is great. I got a 25-pin SCSI connector that's still a little on the warm side, and I got some crystals as well, some crystal oscillators that are lifted off, and I managed to destroy a new bus slot and a PDS slot. But as I mentioned before, I will be able to do it better next time because I will make sure there are no bent pins. Use my brain. Yeah. I haven't even bothered to check and see how many people are watching. What, 5? 10? Can't be many. This software doesn't tell me. I have to go and look it up. Allow. Okay. Now, what are we doing? YouTube Studio. Content. Live control room. This tells me I've got 26 people watching, which is 26, probably about 23 more than I thought I'd have. Sadmac 356, hello there. So I'll just do a quick little wrap up of things very quickly. So as I say, this was always only going to be a very short live stream. I've got work that I need to be doing and whatnot, it was just to test out my new hot plate to see that it's going to do what we want it to do for when I do these reloaded live streams, which will be coming up soon. I'll make sure that they are scheduled well ahead so that you can put it in your calendar and say notify me. One of the live streams that I did in the past where I was actually rebuilding a classic Reloaded, that was one of my highest viewed live streams ever. So I don't know if the Reloaded part of it is something that gets people watching, but I'll certainly be scheduling that ahead so that people can jump on and watch me rebuilding a Macintosh 2FX. I'll be starting with the 2FX, and then I'll do probably the 2CI after that. So that's something that's coming up. What else? I've got a video in the works at the moment. The only reason I haven't been able to finish it is because I have a stupid cold with a silly nose and I sound awful and sniffling and coughing and all that sort of crap. And I have to wait until I sound a little bit better before I sit there and do the, "Hi there, my name's Bruce Rain from Brankers Creations. In this video, I'm going to be blah, 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 blah." But I've done a lot of the work on that. There's a large tutorial section in it about working with a Raspberry Pi to get it to be an emulator, which I know other people have done. But my way is, I believe, quicker and easier. And my way has a few little advantages. There's a disadvantage as well, if you see it that way. I don't see it that way. But it has a few other little advantages that I like about it. So that video will be coming out soon. And I'm hoping that it will be a fairly popular one. I just cracked 55,000 subscribers the other night. I think it was like last night. I noticed that it just ticked over. So, thank you to everyone for continuing to subscribe and enjoying my content and all that sort of things. I've got the second part of my Mac OS 9 games video. If you are into the old vintage Macs and you haven't checked it out, have a look at my part 1 where I basically talk about 5 of my favourite games. And then I've got another 5 that I'm going to be working on. So that'll be coming out soon as well. That one is... there's some fun games in that one there, so hopefully everyone will check that one out. Okay, just checking to make sure I haven't. Thank you very much for that, Dave. And I've also got, in this next video that I've got coming out, this one about working with the RetroPie, there's also a little bit of 3D modeling stuff in that too. So I'll be spending a little bit of time talking about 3D modeling and the 3D modeling software that I use and stuff like that. And then I've got another video that's going to be coming out where I actually do a beginner's guide to the 3D software that I use, which is Onshape. I really, really like Onshape. It just works with the way my brain works. So... I will be probably doing a little video, because when I learnt it, I learnt from a little tutorial video, and it got me going, but I felt like it could be done a bit better, so I thought I might make my own tutorial video for that. And so that has the 3D modeling and then 3D printing, because it has a case, a better case. So that's all coming in that video, and I hope that it works out as well as I am hoping. Downvotes Onshape. I love Onshape. I really love Onshape. There are so many things to like about it. One of the things that I've grown to really like about it, which is something that at the start I was absolutely against, and that is the fact that it's web-based. I was like, no, I do not want a web-based tool. I want an app, a separate app on my computer. And then I started using the web-based thing, and it just runs so well. And then I can model up there in the house. I can then come down here and I want to change something. I can just launch it here, fire it up, make the little change here, and then go back up there. It's changed up there as well. It's fantastic. Shaper is good. Don't get me wrong. Shaper is good, but Shaper's too expensive. I like the free part of Onshape. I like the not having to pay money for Onshape. If Shaper was free, I reckon Shaper would have won the battle for me, but yeah. So the free thing. I 3D printed one of your mini Quadra 700 cases. That is awesome. I made a couple little changes to that. I haven't uploaded them to Thingiverse yet, but I had a hole in the back that was a square for putting cables through, and I thought it doesn't need to be a square. It can be a circle. That way, it doesn't need any support because we can just print in a circle. So there's that, and I also go, oh Jesus! I told you I've been unwell, didn't I? Yeah. So anyhow, that's all coming out. Keep an eye out for it. I hope to have that video as soon as I can set the camera up and record without sounding all snotty like a big ball of snot, which is what my head is at the moment. So anyhow, thank you everyone for joining for this rather unusual live stream. It's certainly not my normal thing. I didn't repair anything. All I did was broke stuff, heated stuff up and broke it. That was all I did today. So that's how much fun is that? I've got I've still got a couple of kits to build. I do have some repairs to do. I am actually I can use the hot for this. Hadn't thought about that. Let's try that. Shall we try that? Yeah, let's try it. If we can just find it. It's under here. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's worth a try. I need to get... This is a screen. This is an LCD screen, right? From a MacBook Air M1, right? And I've got a stinky suspicion that I've got one of these with a fault in whatever's underneath these metal covers. But getting these metal covers off, it's not easy. And I'm wondering if I set that like that, whether I could get that to melt so that I can remove it. And the fact of the matter is I don't need any of these wires connected to it. I could just tear it off. I could tear it off, separate it, because this screen is cracked. Crackhead. It's gone. It's a goner. It's this great big crack somewhere. So I could probably just, wherever the crack is, somewhere, I could probably just rip this off and then see if I can get some components off it. But then the fun part will then be getting that off the good one, because I've got a screen which is good, no cracks in it, but the screen doesn't work. And there's not much to these screens, really. There's just this little thing down the bottom here. So, tempted. I might end up doing that. I might rip this off and sit it on here to lift those metal things off. Yep, I'm going to do that. But I won't do it now on the live stream because, no. Well, I was saying goodbye, wasn't I? Yes. Yes, and everyone's tired. Yes, people are tired, need to go to bed. So, again, just jump across here. Just me. There we go. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for keeping the chat nice and active. Thanks for keeping me company while I've been down here testing this stuff. Sorry it was a bit of a silly waste of time type live stream, but you know, that's what happens sometimes. I promise the next one will be better. The next one will be better. And for all those that were there right at the beginning, you got to meet my chicken. So there you go. That's not a euphemism. You really did get to meet my chicken. And I thank you all, and I hope to see you at the next one. And bye-bye.